Don't forget to like, subscribe, and punch that bell for notifications.
Secretariat, Alidar, Atlas. They've all been there.
We both know the rules. Make this a clean fight. Touch goes now. Come on, fighting at the bell.
10-round fight. That is Charlie Fitch, the third man inside tonight. Let's look at the ring experience brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Rivera has been there. He has done that 15 years of pro, starting as a teenager in Mexico. He is in the white with blue trim, and the well-hyped Andre Berto in the multicolor white, black, red.
You know, we're at the racetrack, Joe, and there's so much talk about all the racing things. I was talking on the tips about the racing form, the tendencies and stuff. There's handicaps in the racing game, you know, how much weight they add to the saddle, whether you use spurs, whether you use, you know, certain kind of chemicals on the horses, whether you're allowed to use different things. Sometimes it does come down not to just the tangible physical things in the ring, but maybe the equipment. They can have an intangible effect. I think this could be a case here. Rivera came in 170 or 147 and a quarter pounds, just a quarter pound over 147. Now, he didn't have to lose that quarter pound because he was allowed to be 148. That's what the contract called for. But he went and lost it because if you 147 pounds or less in New York State, you can use 8-ounce gloves. That's a puncher's glove. He wanted the 8-ounce puncher's glove, so he went and lost a quarter pound, and he got the 8-ounce punching glove. Otherwise, if he left that quarter pound on, it would have been 10-ounce gloves. I think he may have made a mistake in choosing that equipment because I think Berto, the younger man, he's the puncher. He's the bigger guy, and he's the banger here. So I think Rivera would have been better served keeping that quarter pound on and getting the 10-ounce gloves instead of the 8-ounce gloves. We'll find out.
Yeah, 14 straight knockout wins for Andre Berto. The last man to go the distance was Daniel Neal back in February 2005. That was Berto's 4th fight of his career. It was only a 4-rounder, so he only had to last 4 rounds, but he is a stalker, a hunter, and heavy-handed. Going after it up top early on here with still a minute to go in round number 1.
He shouldn't be going up top. Yeah, he might land pay dirt there, but he's with an experienced guy. A guy who's been 10 rounds or better 19 times. Berto's never been past 7 rounds. Rivera, when he gets caught, he's going to move his head up top. Downstairs, I think Berto's going to have to be told in his corner, relax a little bit and bang the body. You're a good body puncher. When you have an experienced guy, he's going to move his head. Go downstairs. That's not going to move so much. Now, you get a chance to see early on when right hands are chucked at Rivera, he turns. He sees it coming, and he turns and he rides with that right hand. A little bit like Bill Parcells, one of his favorite fighters, Roberto Duran. He used to do that. He'd see the right hand coming, and he would turn to his right and pull away from it.
Coach Parcells, our special guest analyst. We'll hear more from him in a little bit. Berto trying to press forward at the end of 1. By the way, Jason Litzow will be the in-studio guest next week with Brian Kenny on Friday Night Fights. Round number 2, Cosme Rivera and Andre Berto. In that first round, the unbeaten Andre Berto was 17 of 51. All 17 connects were to the head.
Been 9 months since Rivera was last in the ring. He's lost 3 of his last 5. You know, Rivera's fought a lot of good fighters, Joe, but he's lost at that next level. Tonight, what it's all about is finding out, is Berto that next level? I think he is, and there's a lot of people out there that also think that. Talking about the size, I just think that Rivera should use that experience, Joe, on the outside, because Berto's the bigger man. He turned pro, 162 pounds, dropped down to junior middleweight for 6 fights. Then he went down to this weight, to welterweight. Rivera turned pro as a lightweight. Then he moved up to junior welter for almost all of his career. He's only been a welterweight his last 8 fights. So the young and the bigger man, Berto, you can see he wants to get close. On the outside, with that wingspan, Rivera has a little edge.
Rivera was able to place a right hand at the end of that three-punch combination moments ago, halfway point of this second round. Berto trying to corral him.
Well, this is what you need to get if you're Rivera. Use that ring, use those legs, use that reach, stay away from the power, and even the hand speed of Berto. And if you're Berto, well, I touched on it in the first round, you got to go to that body, I think, anyway. You got to start taking a little bit of air out of those tires and make the experienced Rivera, who likes to move his head when he sees incoming, make him a little bit easier to hit. You paralyze that body, the head has a funny habit of not moving as well. There's a body shot.
Comes in with a thudding blow, does Berto. He really brings it when he makes that conscious decision to turn it on. Great hand speed and heavy-handed.
I'll tell you right now, I think that the TV cameras are affecting Berto, the 23-year-old, a little bit. His first big exposure on national TV, I think he's a little over-anxious. Not using his jab, not setting up that body attack. If a guy's a body puncher, suddenly he's not going to the body. That tells me he didn't forget that he's a body puncher. It tells me he's excited. He's over-anxious.
Biggest test of his young career in the spotlight, and he very much wants to impress, all playing into the theory that Teddy has put forth in the early goings here. Coming to the end of round number 2, Cosme Rivera and Andre Berto from Saratoga. Just the start of a very big weekend here in Saratoga, New York. Tomorrow is the Breeders' Cup Challenge. The host of that, none other than Chris Fowler. You do a little bit of everything, Chris. You're all over the map. Now you come to Friday Night Fights.
I'm thrilled to be here. I'm a big fan. I love watching fights, and I think that this town is electric. You got so much energy, the crowds downtown for this event and also for the big Whitney card tomorrow. So it's a great time to be in Saratoga.
Chris, I love what's going on in horse racing with this Breeders' Cup Challenge. I think the sport desperately needed a playoff system, something to gain momentum towards that Breeders' Cup at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's win and you're in. Everybody wants to get to the Breeders' Cup. It's the elite against the elite. You have a chance to punch your ticket, and what's great is if you have a long shot or a horse maybe that wasn't on track to get to the Breeders' Cup, win tomorrow, all of a sudden the connections are ecstatic, and they can start to point to Monmouth Park in October. So that's a huge incentive.
You know what people don't talk about enough with these athletes, and they are athletes, jockeys. First of all, they're strong. They got to stand up. They got to have those wrists. They got to control, what, 1,000-pound or 2,000? What's it, 2,000-pound
And the
animal?
courage, man.
Yeah, they got to control, and the courage. The ability to control their fear. The ability to make, as I always talk about, the right decisions under pressure and not be steered the wrong way by that pressure. They don't get enough credit.
A lot of jockeys be good fighters.
You know what? They probably would be. They'd be featherweights and bantamweights, and they'd have to go out to California, where we have more of those fighters out there, or out in Mexico, where we have smaller guys, and they could get action. But you're right. They have the temperament. They have the mental goods to be candidates to be good fighters.
Absolutely. Round number 3, Andre Berto. Take a look at the punch track numbers. You can see Berto's been going in ahead. Teddy called that he should be going to the body a little more often, but a 28-7 advantage to the head for the unbeaten Berto. Chris Fowler joining us ringside here. Round number 3 on Friday Night Fights from Saratoga. Chris, you're one of the rare breeds in our business that gets to do just about everything you can touch. From high-level tennis to the college football to the horse racing scene. You sit ringside for a moment, you get a look at a primed up-and-coming athlete like Andre Berto. What are your first impressions comparing him to other guys on the way up in other sports?
Well, I want to see how Berto responds to the bright lights, as Teddy was saying. Obviously, this is a big moment for him. You've got to remember what got you to this point. I've been eager to see if he can finish Rivera, and if he can't, how is he going to respond when he gets deep in a fight? Because that's uncharted waters for him. So that's a part of the learning process. I'm eager to see what this guy's got, as a lot of fight fans are.
That coming from a guy who covers many breakthrough athletes, and in this sport, Berto is perceived as one of those guys who is set to break through.
I made the point the last round. I'm going to make the point one more time. I believe Berto, he's carrying these rounds, but he's a little over-anxious. He's excited being on television, wanting to show his wares as an undefeated 23-year-old guy who he wants people to believe that he's the heir apparent, the next great fighter, the next welterweight champion.
What do you tell him to settle him down?
What you do is you say, go back to the basics. Use your jab. You're taught to use your jab to set punches up. You're a good body puncher. Don't forget about that. Forget this fight is on television. Forget that this fight is a guy that you step up in class. Use the things that you use every day in the gym. Use those tools, and you're going to be okay. Things will take care of themselves. That's how you settle him down.
He seems to be looking around. He's noticing the cameras and looking down at you guys a lot.
No, I really believe that he's trying a little bit too hard right now for his television audition. And that happens. We're talking about human beings. We're not talking about machines. You know, we're at a racetrack. I'm sure sometimes horses have to be settled down a little bit before they get out of that gate. They get a little bit antsy. Right now, Berto, a little antsy.
Yeah, Andre Berto would be running a 21-second first quarter here. Chris,
great
so glad to have you with us.
Keep up the great work.
Thanks for coming out.
You with us, Chris.
Chris Fowler tomorrow will be on the Breeders' Cup Challenge on ABC starting at 4 Eastern. Round 4 scheduled for 10. Andre Berto, former National Golden Gloves champ, winner of 14 straight by knockout, a 2004 Olympian. And a chance to really grab himself a spotlight win here that would then move to a spot on a much anticipated middleweight showdown between Pavlik and Terror on that undercard against an even better step-up opponent.
On a neutral quarter.
Referee Charlie Fitch going to take some time. See what the equipment issue is here.
I tried.
You cut it off?
Yeah.
Cut that.
The gloves. Yeah, scissors.
Teddy, looks like there could be something on the thumb
Yeah. Don't hit
of
him behind the
Andre
head, though.
Berto's
When he
right
leaps in.
glove.
Don't let him hold you. Yep. I see it. Okay, go to that neutral corner, please. Time in! Box!
Teddy's scorecard, Berto sweeping the first 3 rounds.
You know, I was saying I'd like to see him settle down, and I answered Chris Fowler's question. He said, how would you settle down, Berto? Well, get him to go to the basics, the things that he's going to need if he's going to be successful in this business, and if he indeed is going to be the next welterweight champ. Use the jab. And coming out this round, somebody got his ear. He's using that jab, and when the jab comes, everything else comes. You relax, you start to control your opponent a little bit, you get your range, and even the body shots start to find themselves. It starts with the basics, with the fundamentals. You don't get much more fundamental in boxing than starting with the jab. And that's usually what's missing when a young fighter steps up and he's over anxious. He's looking for all the big flash punches. You know, he wants those flash bulbs to go off. He wants somebody to see him scoring a big knockout. And he goes away from the thing that sets up those knockouts. He's gone back to it now.
Rivera comes forward. Berto able to get away. There's that jab. Right hand comes behind it. Tries to go to the body.
I have a funny feeling Berto hurt his right hand just a little bit.
He gave a funny look to it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Just a little bit of a shake with it, as though he was shaking a little bit of numbness out of it. But that's part of the growing process, part of the maturity process of a fighter if he's going to get to the promised land, if he's going to get to the world title. And that's dealing, if you do have an injury, dealing with it like a pro. Put it out of your mind.
Accidental clash of heads and a cut on the bridge of the nose of Cosme Rivera. End of 4 here in Saratoga Springs.
You gotta let our hands go, all right? It's good.
Well, let me see it first. I got to see it
I just
first,
need you to let your
guys.
hands go a little more, all right?
Can't draw until I see what I
You're
got.
good. You touch it down, but you're still following around the ring a little bit, all right? That's right. You're good. You're good. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, that's. I didn't want it with the right hand up, but it's okay.
We're working on it, okay? Put the punches together. Listen, I'll be frustrated.
Let me see.
Huh? Jam, don't worry about that. Listen to me. Relax. Don't worry about all that.
Yeah, well, that shot's better. I like this one
Just
better.
cut him off a little bit. Start touching that button,
Yeah,
you'll see a difference.
yeah, start with a freeze.
You're better with your punch count. You got to keep picking.
If you're wondering why Rivera's still standing with all those headshots, you're going to see why. Watch as he turns his head this way. He turns that head away from the punch, and he moves his glove over a little bit right here. So when the right hand comes in, nothing real clean. Just take a look right here. The turn of the head and the right glove goes over. What Berto has to do when he sees that, he's got to come back with the left hook. After the right hand is blocked by that right hand, there's nobody home to protect that left hook. That's why Berto has to be calm.
Round number 5 of our welterweight main event. Andre Berto in the white, black, and red, the undefeated prospect with 16 knockouts, regarded as the #1 prospect in the sport, against the veteran Cosme Rivera, who fought Zab Judah for a world title and is just coming off of a near upset of Joel Julio. Lost a heartbreaking split decision after scoring a knockdown in the 12th round against the much talked about Julio. Punch track numbers as Berto lets off with a 6-punch combination. You see the last 2 rounds, the average punches landed. He's been putting 21 in a round. Teddy Atlas's scorecard looks this way. Clean sweep, 4 rounds to zip. Glad to be joined once again by our special guest analyst, Bill Parcells. Bill, kind of a different situation compared to what we saw in our first fight, where Chaz Witherspoon was not getting jump-started early on. Berto a little anxious, a little too peppy maybe early on.
I think a little frustrated too, because he's chasing this guy around. He's pressing the issue real hard, and he's winning the fight, but he can't get to where he wants to get to unload on him. And he's putting the pressure on, but I do get a little sense of frustration on the part of Berto.
He's a guy that comes out of training camp and he's forgetting the skills that you work on in those two-a-days every day. You know, he's going out there and he's attacking physically, but he's not using the fundamentals to use those physical abilities to their utmost. He's not using the jab. Last round he started using it a little bit more, but I think he was affected by his first national TV fight, being a little over-anxious and wanting to score a knockout.
Well, he's definitely a little anxious. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Snapped his head back with a left hand there.
Bill, no matter how good the athlete is that you have and that you have on the football field, he has to be able to vehicle up those physical abilities with technical abilities. He has to make sure that the coaches, what they taught him as far as the approach is used. How important is that, and how much is that stressed in your game? Because to me, it's never been more evident than watching Berto. When he used his jab, all the other things have a chance of coming out, but when he goes in there and just starts bombing away, well, he's just another young kid with a little ability.
I think in football, the words we would use would be trying to be technically precise with your techniques, and that just trying to maul somebody isn't going to be able to get the job done. You have to use the technique, as you're talking about.
More with Bill, Teddy, and Berto when we come back. So Barry Bonds hits number 754. History could be made this weekend. Andre Berto on the other end of his career. He's looking for number 19, win number 19 of his career. Only 2 others have gone the distance. Cosme Rivera, a tough veteran, has all the tools on the tool belt to be a survivor.
Well, you know, you just touched on the word survivor. When you're the veteran going in there with the younger guy, and you're the veteran like Rivera, you've been around 14.5 years. The question to me going in there, and Bill, tell me if you see this sometimes in your place. The question to me is he going to use, he's in there with the younger team, so to speak. He's in there with the younger fighter who hasn't been tested in areas he's been tested. Is he going to use that experience to win, or is he going to use that experience just to last, just to go the distance?
It looks like right now that your perception is correct, Teddy. I think he's looking to stay in there, and maybe, hopefully, late he may get an opportunity or something to change the flow. But right now, I think he'd be hard pressed to find him winning many rounds.
And you know, this business is always about choices. Your business is about choices too. And here's Rivera making the choice. So far, at least, in my eyes, and it seems like your eyes, for the first 5 rounds and almost 6 rounds now, again, Rivera choosing to last more than do the things that would require taking a chance to win.
I agree. Well, what he is accomplishing, he is frustrating Berto, though. And
Berto, a big combination upstairs.
But there you see
Rivera
the hand
hands on.
speed. Well, you see the hand speed there, but what you didn't see there, again, and at least I think it's missing, is the body punching of Berto, and he's a good body puncher. And I think that speaks to what you touched on, Bill, the frustration of Berto. I think a combination of Rivera fighting to survive, a combination of Berto being on television where he wants to show the world, you know, all his wares. I think all those things together are kind of conspiring to frustrate Berto a little bit.
Just allows this man to tie up on the inside that time.
I mean, you're going in there, you're trying to shine, and you got a guy using all that experience to survive, not taking chances. It's hard to get to a guy when he's not taking chances. And he gets
First knockdown! Holy cow! What a stunning turn of events!
Well, that's another thing that can happen when a guy's been trying to survive. You can start to take the guy for granted, and you never want to do that. It's always dangerous, and the danger is shown right there. Nothing coming back from Rivera in any kind of aggressive fashion, and Berto got a little lazy, a little careless, and bang, he got caught, I think, with a right hand.
Here's a look. End of 6. Left
Actually, a
uppercut.
left uppercut, and if you look at it, we'll get another look. The experience of Rivera, he turned southpaw. He used some of that experience, a bag of tricks, turned southpaw, gave a different look to Berto, and then came with that punch from a different angle. All of a sudden, the left uppercut coming from a place that it had not come from all night long, coming from the southpaw position. Now we're going to find out, does Berto have the inside goods that we always talk about, Bill?
well, I think you may see a little different attitude on the part of Rivera, too, because his confidence might have just skyrocketed a little bit, and he might say, hey, I might be able to beat this guy.
And in another way, he doesn't have the benefit that he had before. Now, Berto's getting a big break here because...
Fortuitous timing, Teddy.
I mean, he's getting an unbelievable, it almost brings back the memories of Ali when he was tested with Henry Cooper.
And Angelo didn't cut the glove, right?
Yeah, many, many years ago. He gets dropped with a left hook. Ali did when he was coming up. He was an undefeated heavyweight. Cooper dropped him a left hook, and then all of a sudden there's a cut in the glove, and they got to change the glove, and Ali got a chance to recuperate. Berto just had a new glove put on, and he's been given a chance to recuperate.
Wow. Referee Charlie Finch has to be speedy here because what an advantage for Berto to get that opportunity after being knocked down with just 10 seconds to go in the 6th round. He was lucky the knockdown happened late to begin with. Now round number 7. This fight has changed.
You know, it's a funny thing. Fighters that are on their way up, that are destined to go somewhere, that are destined maybe for world titles in their future, they get fortuitous breaks. I don't know. I mean, it's just something that happens. They get an opportunity when they're in a tough spot for something to go good for them. We're going to see whether or not now Berto can take advantage and get himself back on track and right the ship.
Bill Parcells, as a fight fan, that is one of the things you have to love about this sport. A fight completely going in one direction, and in one moment, it changes like that.
It does, and you know, Berto's still got some loose tape on his glove here, on his right glove, and the referee may be forced to do something about that here pretty soon.
And if you want to give credit to a cornerman to be that calm and that smart, you could leave that tape out to see if your fighter needs another chance as the round goes on, and now all of a sudden you get another break.
Teddy, that sounds like you're speaking from experience right there.
You got to think of all those things. I mean, You only get one shot at it when your fight is in those kind of perilous situations. And you want to make sure that you do everything to look out for your fighter. Everything that's legal.
They are going toe-to-toe now. A left hook by Berto moments ago got to Rivera, but then Rivera trades with him in the center of the ring. Obviously a confidence boost for Rivera at the end of 6. Berto lands the uppercut on the inside.
But a loss of an advantage, Joe and Bill. The advantage that Rivera did lose was he had his fighter sleepwalking a little bit.
Sure did.
You know, he had Berto not expecting anything back. He had a guy in front of him who was just fighting to survive, and Berto got careless. Guess what? Berto is not careless now, and Rivera does not have that advantage. Berto now is paying attention. He's dotting the I's, he's crossing the T's. And that was a great advantage. You know, it took 5 rounds to build that advantage, but Rivera really did lull Berto to sleep. A bad cut now.
Bad cut around the right eye of Rivera. Berto sees blood, goes after that target.
Now Rivera's been cut in 2 of his last 4 fights, so nothing new. He will not panic.
Great energy here in Saratoga as we come down the stretch of what has now turned into a very intriguing battle. The upset-minded Rivera against the hot prospect Berto as we come to the end of 7.
Está bien, estamos bien. Vamos, vamos. Colme.
Left hook,
Ah,
right.
no me eches agua cuando estoy haciendo la tocada, amigo. Vea.
That cut he's got on his right eye. As a punch.
You guys got the left hook that.
So I'm blowing punch. It's a punch.
Commission is saying punch. You hear them?
That cut's from a punch on the right eye.
See that? Charlie Fitch just said punch. Ruben Chavez in Cosme Rivera's corner working on a brutal cut around that right eye. It was caused by a punch. Take a look back. Left hook right there, Teddy, and it was right on the money. Great left hook by Berto.
And there's scar tissue over that right eye. Rivera was cut over that same eye in his last fight 9 months ago. Part of the reason why he and his camp took 9 months off before getting back in the ring. They wanted that cut to heal.
3rd time in his last 5 fights that he's been dealing with the cuts. And this is a bad one. Streaming down the side. It's above the corner of the eye, so it couldn't impede his vision. In round number 6, he scored the uppercut that put down Berto, changed the entire tone and atmosphere of this fight, and now Charlie Fitch is going to deal with this cut. Ringside physician will have to tend to it. Trainer comes up and wipes it away. The physician should be making that decision. Can he see okay? Not his own trainer, Bill.
I don't know what's going on here now. I don't know why the official would ask him to do that. Maybe he just wanted to get a better look at the cut.
He was asking his own trainer if he could see. Odd move. Berto presses on with the left hook. Berto charging forward now. Andre Berto trying to hunt down a bloodied and battered Cosme Rivera. That right eye is something fierce on Rivera. Berto presses in again. Right hand comes around that left guard of Rivera. Rivera puts forth the body shot. Berto says, bring it. Berto wants opportunities. Berto wants a brawl at this point after going down in that 6th round. There's a good combination. The right hand scored well.
Again, no advantage anymore for Rivera. No sleepwalking by Berto. Now you're seeing the best Berto, and you're seeing his instincts to get rid of a guy who had him in trouble.
Such damaging blows with the hand speed and power of Berto as he reins in another series of headshots moment ago. There's a right hand that chases Rivera around the ring. Rivera back to the inside.
That Berto would be really serving himself if he would go downstairs to the body, because right now, Rivera trying to survive the cut, survive the physical damage given to him by the 23-year-old, and he's using his legs to survive. And going to the body would take that advantage away from Rivera. We said going into this fight that if you're in the camp of Berto, you're looking for a development fight. They got one.
What a brutal display. The power punching of Berto as we come to the end of 8.
Was he on the floor?
No. No, he was hurt badly, though. By the
Robbie, what I had to do, I had to literally, Wayne and Lance came over and helped me. I went over and got them. No, but I'm just telling you that the guys that were here, they were of no help. The other guys that were here,
you want me to set
just
you
make
up
a
on
note of that. I mean, the stage manager wasn't even around.
Oh, I'm all right. I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to be too dominant.
Let me see it. I got to see it.
Turned into a good one, huh?
Yeah. I should have helped you out with Teddy. I was too busy paying attention.
Fine, absolutely fine.
Here's the good and the bad of a young Andre Berto. Mostly good. You see that he sees red, he sees blood, he sees an opponent that's in trouble, that had him in trouble, and he's going after him. But the bad, not settling down and not going downstairs to that body. Maybe if he goes to that body, he actually gets rid of Rivera.
Doctors are taking a long look on that stool in the red corner. Will they let Cosme Rivera out for this 9th round? They do, and they fight on to the delight of these fans here at Saratoga. Round number 9, scheduled for 10. Berto, a little patient here in the early goings. After stalking his prey for much of the 7th and 8th round. Remember, at the end of the 6th round, this fight completely changed when Rivera scored a knockdown with the left uppercut. Berto working behind that jab. Now to the inside. Left hook sweeps across that cut. Bill Parcells, does the body language of either man tell you anything right now?
You know, I think Rivera's confidence is better than it was early in the fight. I mean, he's trying to make more of a fight of it now than he was in the early rounds. Now, I mean, he's not winning many rounds here, and Berto is pressing. But Berto better watch it, because he could get careless again, as he did earlier on.
Happened in the 6th round, could happen again. Teddy Atlas's scorecard. That 10-8 just pops right out. Everything else favoring Berto.
Well, what's an opening right now? We touch on it in the fight plan. An opening for Rivera is, look at that left hand of Berto down low. That can hurt him in 2 ways. It can hurt him defensively. There's nothing up. Of course, he picks it up when he sees Rivera coming. But it can hurt him offensively. Well, that hand's down. That's where I think Rivera, as we talked about early on, should move to his right. He has nothing to worry about with that left hand. Move away from the right hand, move to his right, and attack a little bit.
See that right eye of Cosme Rivera worsening as this 9th round moves on. There's swelling, a bad cut, and blood streaming down the face, and worse than that, right into the eye. The doctors have taken a look 2 times. The fight has gone on.
The cut man and corner man, chief second of Rivera, Ruben Chavez, not able to completely stem the tide with that bleeding eye.
It was caused by a left hook by Andre Berto in the 7th round.
Well, one thing that we know for sure, that survival mission that Rivera was on early on, he's not on it no more. Now he's fighting to survive in a different way. And that means having to attack and try to win, too.
I think Berto's tired.
I think so, too. He gave a very funny look when he was against the ropes over here, too.
I think he's tired.
He does. Hey, listen, all these first-round knockouts early going. Now you get something like this.
Last round, right?
The racetrack will be hosting the Breeders' Cup Challenge tomorrow on ABC. Tonight, this town hosting an action-packed edition of Friday Night Fights. 10th and final round, Andre Berto, the undefeated prospect, Cosme Rivera, the gritty veteran. On Teddy's scorecard, Rivera would absolutely need to come up with a spectacular jackpot finish to win this fight. 88-82, Berto.
You know, we're at a racetrack. Been talking boxing, we've been talking races. If you're well ahead in the race, do you hold your horse back a little bit, or do you let him go run like a champion? He wants to be a champion, do you just let him run? Right now, that's the question, Bill, that was in the minds of the corner of Berto. I think they know he's ahead. Do you hold him back and do you be safe and say, hey, just don't get caught anything? Or do you say, go out there and do what you want to do? Feel like a champion.
No, I think you let him go now, Teddy. This is his 19th fight. If you don't let him go now, when are you going to let him go? Be too late.
A lot of people would say, hey, but you're ahead in this fight, and you want to now go into a thing, and you know this term real well, that pass defense, that prevent defense. Now, I've seen it in your sport. Usually, the only thing it prevents is somebody from winning, because usually you see the team march right down the field when they go into that prevent defense.
Well, you're trying to trade yards for time there, but, you know, this Berto is pressing a little bit more here lately.
There's a lot of people that would think right now that Berto is putting himself in the eye of the storm. He's ahead in his fight, and he's going after a guy that he don't have to go after, and taking a chance against a guy that he's already been on the floor with. But then again, Bill, there's a lot of people who would say, hey, if he's going to be a future world champion, let him go do it the way a champion would do it.
Absolutely. You got to go try to beat him, and he's trying to beat him.
There's a little clash of heads once again. Now you see the bag of tricks from Rivera, Bill. He's mixing up. Every once in a while he'll turn southpaw. See, he turns southpaw right in midstream. And what he's hoping to do there is all of a sudden get Berto in a position where he doesn't know a punch is coming from a new angle. And that's how he scored the knockdown way back in the 6th round.
He definitely came to fight.
Boy, did he ever. Look at this effort.
Well, it took him 6 rounds to get into the fight, but you know what? It's been worth it.
Tremendous effort down the stretch of this 10th round as Rivera puts his head down and swings away, and Berto always willing to respond. How was that uppercut for a receipt?
Well, what I like about it is he set it up. He saw it, he took a little step back, and he lined it up. And he lined up his 19th win, at least on my scorecard.
Boxing fans, after 10 rounds of outstanding action, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Winkins scores the bout 97-92, while judges Tom Schreck and Billy Costello both see the bout 98-91, all for your winner by unanimous decision, still undefeated, Andre Berto.